Okay, what we're going to do in this video is make pizza dough or dough for calzones. Tomorrow, or maybe tonight, I plan on making a calzone. First thing you want to do, let's put this on the side, is get your water to 130 degrees because you're going to need 2/3 of a cup of water. It's about 133 degrees, that will be fine. That's fine. One 120 to 130 degrees. 2/3 cup of water. This is a third, and that second cup will be 2/3. Okay, that's done. Now you want to take your yeast. I'm using Fleischman in this recipe, but next one I'm going to use this yeast here, which is Fleischman active dry yeast. I'm just using these packets for this recipe. You open up the Fleischman yeast. Oops, you don't want that in there. Pour it in there. And then some people, they wait 5 minutes. Other people wait about 10 minutes. Then it's calling for some sugar. So it's about 1.5 teaspoons of sugar. I know in these little packets here, I do got my own sugar. One of these packets is like 1 teaspoon. And then this packet here is like it's a half a packet, so it's a half. Well, we'll do 1/2 teaspoon here. We'll just eyeball it. This is sugar. Some people don't even add sugar to wake up their yeast. Take a fork and spin it around, and then you just want to let this sit. For this time, we're going to let it sit for 5 minutes. You should see bubbles. So, with the magic of video editing, we're going to be back in 5 minutes, and let's get all that yeast. On my fingers, geezer. All right, we'll be back in about 5 minutes, chat. Echo, shut off timer. So actually, it's about 7 minutes, so that looks good. See all those bubbles? It looks like the yeast has came alive. So what you want to do now, add, it calls for about 2 cups of flour on this recipe here, but it's calling for 3/4 of a teaspoon of salt, in which you want to mix it into your flour. So we're going to start off with 1 cup of flour. And where's the teaspoon thing? And about 3/4 teaspoon of salt. Not quite a teaspoon, but 3/4 of a teaspoon of salt. Now, if you want to add some garlic powder, this is not on the recipe, but you can add other ingredients. I'm going to add a little bit of garlic powder. I'm going to add a teaspoon of garlic powder because it will give an extra flavor. Or maybe 1/2 teaspoon of garlic powder, because this shit is concentrated. Okay, moving right along. Take a fork and just mix it all together. Hopefully you guys can see that okay. Now what we want to do now is add the yeast to the flour, to 1 cup of flour. Let's pour it in, like so. Maybe try to get all the yeast out. and then start spinning it like so. You're mixing it. It's looking, you know, kind of moist, and it's going to look dry in a moment. Add more flour. It calls for maybe 3/4 of a cup to 2 cups. So we're just going to add about less than 1 cup. Okay, we're going to play it by ear. Chat. I'm going to mix it together. And don't get discouraged if it looks all dry. You can always add a little bit more water. If it's too sticky or, you know, seems like it has too much liquid, you add more flour. So you just play it by ear. Okay. This is like 5 to 10 minutes doing this. If you have a pizza dough machine, go ahead and use that, because it probably work a lot better than this, doing it by hand, if you will. Yeah, probably. See, sometimes you got to play it by ear. I mean, just play it by how it's going. I'm gonna add a little bit of more water to this, just a little bit at a time. It looks it should be not forming like that. Just add a little bit of more water. Play it safe, and just keep spinning it. There we go. Now it's a lot better. Now it's at a consistency that I do admire. All right, so basically when it gets like this stage, you're going to add more flour, as you know. Look how sticky. Now it's sticky. We're going to have some fun kneading it, if you will. So what you want to do is just coat the surface with some flour. Coat maybe some of that with flour, and on the top, and we're going to knead it. And you do this for about 10 minutes as well. Now, what you want to do is just shape it into a ball, like a balloon. Shape it into a ball. There it is. Voila. Now, let's rinse this out. I want to weigh it out. That gram, we'll put it on ounces. Mode. All right, so I want to see how much it weighs, because for the calzone it should be 8 ounces, and we're gonna make calzone, so it's about 12. So we're gonna just do little mini calzones. I'm gonna chop it in half later, and it'll be 6-ounce calzones rather than 8-ounce calzones, or some people make their calzones 7 ounce. But I'll just make mini calzones. So it's about 12.2 ounces here. It weighed out to. Now what we want to do next is some olive oil on the bottom. Coat it on all sides. And now what you want to do, some people, they just cover it up. Some other people, and I'm just going to do it with a damp towel over this for an hour. And then we're going to refrigerate it in smaller portions. Okay, with the magic of video editing, we'll be back in about an hour. Okay, we're back. We're going to just slice this in half because we're going to do individual portions. That's what it looks like. See how it risen a little bit? I'm gonna store this in separate containers. So let's take it out and just cut it in half, I guess. Get some flour. Once again, a little flour on the counter. And let's just cut this in half. It should be about 6 ounces each. Calzone will be 6 ounces. Now let's shape this into a ball again. You're going to put this in separate container. Where's my new Tupperware? And once again, a little olive oil on this. Coat it with olive oil. And then what you want to do, I'm going to let it sit overnight. This one here. The other one I actually might cook up for today. Let's once again put this into a bowl. Like a balloon. And once again, this gets a little oil on it as well. How many dry fucking containers, geezer? Olive oil. Yeah, we'll get a lid for that. Geezer! 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 This one will be for tonight. This one will be in the refrigerator. I need a round. Oh, there's the round lid. This one will throw in the refrigerator. This one's probably going to be for tonight. If we do make a calzone, I'll let it sit out. It won't kill it to let it sit out overnight. Okay. In the meantime, we're going to make pizza sauce. Alright, to make pizza sauce, it's really simple. You want the whole peeled Roma tomatoes. If you can get San Marzano style or San Marzano Roma tomatoes whole peeled, that would be ideal. Now what you want to do, you don't want to use this liquid. It doesn't have much of a taste. It's just not good. Pour it all out. Fish it out. You can leave some of the liquid in. You don't have to be too picky about that. And when I got it, I have it on shred mode here on the food processor. So first I want to just put it in there. A bunch in at a time. Actually, I'm going to do double the recipe here. Because I want to make enough It's going to last me for a while. And I'm just going to double the ingredients that it calls for. If you can get the really large, the industrial size ones, then go for it. No matter what, geezer, you're going to make a mess. Now we got some of this residue here that we're going to put in here because we're going to use another blade. Let's try to get it all out. All right. Now it's calling for a pinch of sugar. We'll just do 2 pinches of sugar on here. And a little sugar. Only calls for a pinch of sugar. I'm not going to overdo it with the sugar. I don't want it too sweet. Now it also, you want like fucking some globs of olive oil. It's calling for some tomato paste. You could put about 5 or 6 globs of this. And for the grand finale, some either dry oregano or at this junction I have some fucking basil, so I'm gonna add some fresh basil. Ooh. Fresh basil. Now we're going to switch the blade, put this blade on there. This is going to spin it all around again. Put the cap on. And let's have a look and a taste. Here we go. That's pizza sauce. Now, if you don't want it that thick, I like it thick like that. That's typical pizza sauce. Woo-wee! Stay tuned for my next video. It will be cooking the calzone. I actually might go live tonight with cooking the calzone, or definitely go live one of these days with cooking the calzone. It's also going to be a taped broadcast video of me cooking a cheese calzone with prosciutto or prosciutto. Stay tuned. Thank you so much for tuning in, and I'll see you when I see you. Come!